Hey YouTube, you have Leonard here. For you guys and gals, Kanojo Okunishimasu, Rent a Girlfriend, chapter 248, the review portion. So everyone, per the usual, of course, you can follow me on Twitch, link the Twitch box down below. You'll find the live reaction there. I did the live reaction first over on the Twitch side, so definitely check that out if you guys are curious. This chapter was a chapter. I know that there's going to be a lot of people who are probably frustrated with the beginning of it. What I mean by that is essentially we had a very good cliffhanger last week of Chizuru bringing Kazuya back in. Us wondering, what does this mean? What is going to happen? Now, I remember last week saying that it won't be completely fruitless, but we've been baited so many times. Actually, I don't remember what I said last week. I'm pretty sure I wasn't baited. Maybe I was. But we know this manga that there's not going to be another kiss. As much as I would love to have seen that happen, it was going to happen in that moment. It's a typical bait, really big plot, like cliffhanger to end the chapter. But nonetheless, while people may be annoyed that this didn't pay off immediately in terms of a kiss or that scene with the two of them, am I too loud? Sorry guys. At the end of the day, as much as that scene didn't pay off initially in terms of like them doing something, we do get the benefit of seeing the fact that Chizuru is showing how much Kazuya is impacting her, like affecting her from a relationship from an emotional standpoint. She pulls Kazuya in and she like goes for his head and she's like, oh, a leaf. They had a leaf for your hair. And Kazuya's just like, oh, yeah, well, you know, like the rocks and this and that. He runs off and he's just like, this doesn't make any sense. I mean, there are no leaves or anything like that. So Kazuya is utterly confused. But then we get an opportunity to appreciate the fact that Chizuru basically made that up. She pulled Kazuya in because she liked the fact that Kazuya was close. She didn't want him to go away from her. In fact, because she likes Kazuya and she's developing these feelings, she probably wanted to embrace him for all we know. But because of Chizuru, she wasn't able to take that next step and do it. So as a result, she's like, okay, I got myself in this situation. Don't really know exactly what to do. Oh, yeah, you have a leave. And she even admits it to herself. She's like, that was such a lame excuse, but it worked. It did work in the end. So I think for me, I was perfectly fine the beginning parts of this chapter. We don't get anything that we were probably expecting from the end of last chapter, but it still pays off in a very, very, very good way, seeing that Chizuru's thinking very deeply about Kazuya. She's impacted emotionally by him, and she kind of yearns to be closer to him. Like, when that happened, she didn't want to push him away, and I think that's huge. Rest of the chapter. This chapter overall for me was amazing. I say that because Kazuya was very mature this chapter. Chizuru's very mature. I love where the story is going right now, where it's really focusing not just on all the nonsense, but really starting to focus on the depth of the relationship between Chizuru and also Kazuya. I couldn't have expected this 20, 30 chapters ago, the way the story was going, but it seems like Deiji's made a concerted effort after the whole time skip we got, to really focus on Chizuru and Kazuya and their relationship before they become an actual couple. I think he's committed to that, and that's why we're getting a lot of these chapters, why I feel like the story is going to be going on for a little bit while longer, because of the fact that he's really doing a lot to build up Chizuru and Kazuya in each other's minds. You see Chizuru thinking about Kazuya and like this whole inspection period. You have Kazuya starting to wonder questions about, I want Mizuhara to know more about me. I want to learn more about her. And my favorite part of the chapter, where it then prompts him to ask about family. He's just like, what do you think of when it comes to family? Like, what's your ideal family? What's your ideal marriage, specifically? And I think what's really nice, I'm going to pull up quickly what Chizuru ended up saying here, and I think it was profound. Kazuya is basically saying, like, to him, when you think about like your ideal marriage, it's just like, oh, you're lovey-dovey, everything's all good and happy. And she's just like, huh, nice answer, but no, not really. That's not what I feel anyway. She says here, even people who are married were once strangers at some point. It's impossible that their values would be the same. But she continues, there's no perfect human being. There will be fights, but there will be things they don't like about each other. But if they can turn around and laugh about it 2 seconds later, that's the kind of marriage I'd like to have. I was like, oh my gosh. That was such a deep line from Chizuru. Even Kazu, you see, like, he's enlightened by this. He's so happy. He's just like, this is the girl that I fell in love with. This is the girl that I currently love. And I thought that was really powerful. I love that so much. So Kazu benefited from that. He ends up in saying that, like, hey, I want this too. I want to be in the same type of relationship. And it kind of makes Chizuru laugh because she can read between the lines. She knows that Kazi is saying this because he's referencing her. He wants that type of marriage with Chizuru, the same type of marriage that she wants. So reading between the lines, it hits very hard, I'm sure. But all she can do is kind of like laugh and brush it off and be like, of course you would do that. So unoriginal, and they have a nice moment. So I really love how this chapter and all these other previous chapters have done such a good job of building up a foundation finally for Chizuru and Kazuya to get to know each other, to really have a deep relationship beyond just the rental stuff. This is the stuff we're getting now, or the stuff that I wish we were getting post movie arc. I wish we got all this post movie arc. I truly, truly do. It would have hit so differently, but ran for another day. Lastly, the final part of this chapter was definitely shocking for me. I was not ready for that. The apartment burned down. Now I know this can be a cliche sometimes in like manga, like the apartment burns and this and that. But this is actually like a really good cliffhanger for me because I'm like, number one, Yamori's fine. What happened to Fish-kun? Is Fish okay? Someone mentioned that in chat. I think it was Genny. Is Fish alive? Is Fish alive? Because the apartment seemingly has burned down from what I see. We see the fire department, do not cross lines, where I think this is going to go based on the next chapter title, Eviction. The apartment burned down. This is a big blow because that means Chizuru and Kazi will not be neighbors anymore. They won't be directly next to each other. That could to some degree eliminate some level of interaction between them, which at this stage would not be good because they're progressing so much. Would it not be interesting if they end up finding another place next to each other? Would it not be interesting if perhaps in the interim, because maybe they're going to be placed somewhere, do they live together? There are various ways that this could go. I would love, honestly, if they end up living together for a short period of time. I think that'd be super interesting, crazy. I wonder how they'll justify it. But man, I hope that'll happen. And on top of that, all of their friends will be like, yeah, that just makes perfect sense. Like, you guys should live together. They'll probably, between Kazuya's family and then his friends and stuff like that, they'll probably push this along because they're like, well, you guys are dating anyway. I mean, hey, your place burned down, might as well. So I think that could be a very interesting plot point. I'm very excited for next week's chapter. So everyone, per the usual, I'm going to end this one here. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Like the video if you like the video. Subscribe if you like my content. It is greatly appreciated as always. Very good chapter, everybody. So with that, I'm going to end it here. I'm Leonard, and I'm out. Take care, everybody. Have a good one.